And what you don't understand is that positive affirmation is not just about repeating words. Let's be clear. It's way more than that. And so let's get into it to really understand what a positive affirmation actually is.
When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run. I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.
Woo! What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your one-stop shop for everything empowerment. I am Tariq Williams. Let's get into it. So, this episode is interesting. It's unique. It's just as great as any other episode. But the reason why I'm saying it's a little bit interesting, this topic for me, is because, as you all know, this isn't my first time talking a little bit about language, and I talk a lot about the importance of words and the power of language and all that. And so you would have thought that I had done an episode already on the talk about positive affirmations. You would have thought that we would have talked about positive affirmations because in every episode, I'm like, words are powerful, everyone, and we got to get into the words, right? I say it all the time, but I haven't really talked about positive affirmations. So guess what we're going to do here? We're going to talk about positive affirmations. All right, here we go. So the thing about positive affirmations, let's rewind and take quite a few steps back. So let's go foundation and then we'll grow. So ultimately, something we've talked about way episodes ago, self-efficacy, a fancy way of saying one's belief in themselves to produce a task. Ultimately, confidence, right? We're talking about confidence. We're talking about building that confidence in yourself and having confidence within yourself to do whatever it is you want to do. And so confidence is really important just in general. But let's think about this for a second. I'll give you guys an example. So when I'm working with a client, and let's say we're talking about their ability to cross the street, right? When I'm working with other blind students and we're talking about crossing the street, we can work together and they can cross the street with me as they learn how to cross the street as a blind person. But with that example, they have to be able to have the confidence to do it without me. I am for those who don't know, I'm a pretty cool person to hang out with. I gotta admit, I'm pretty neat to hang out with. But unfortunately, my students cannot take me everywhere. So they gotta have the confidence to be able to cross those streets on their own. Because if they don't have confidence, they don't have anything. And so if you don't have confidence in yourself to produce that task, to move forward in your life, to get promoted, right? In our coaching sessions, we'll talk a little bit about leveling up. In our coaching sessions, we talk about what it means and what you got to do to be promoted. But if you don't have the confidence within yourself to be able to put what we're taking into action, well, then we're going to struggle a little bit, right? And so ultimately, we're getting to the point here and how positive affirmations can be a part of this journey and the power of language. We can connect. So we're using positive affirmations as a way to build confidence. Now, when we're talking about building that confidence, right? And we're talking about moving forward on a daily basis and that self-efficacy piece, when we're talking about positive affirmations, we're talking about specifically phrases or statements that we're going to say to ourselves, that we're going to say out loud, maybe internally, externally, however you want to say it, whatever works for you, so that you can start believing it a bit more and more and more, right? And so, for example, positive affirmations are used by several people, several individuals. A lot of different people use them. For example, Jennifer Lopez, she used to always say to herself, I will be youthful and timeless at any age. And so it's something that you would say to yourself, something you would talk about. It's that positive information. And now you're starting to get into that psychological piece a little bit, right? So I'm not going to dive too deep into the science today because I'm not trying to bore you all with that. We're just trying to get really practical here on the channel. Now, but when we talk about that psychological piece, that neuroplasticity, your brain starts to get rewired a bit in a way that you're able to start believing in what you're telling yourself and talking about. And that's the power of a positive affirmation. Now, it sounds good, right? Words are powerful, but it sounds good. It sounds cool. And we have that positive affirmation, but truly, what is next? Now, for Jennifer Lopez, ultimately, you can say as much as you want to say, but it has to be followed up with the action. And when we're talking about being followed up with the action, you have to put some action, some motion behind the things that you're saying to make sure you're affirming, right, the things that you're saying to yourself. Now, everyone talks about the fact that the grass is greener on the other side. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. The grass is truly greener where you water it. So are you going to put action to the words that you're saying? Because if you don't put action to the words that you're saying, then you're not watering that grass, right? So then it's not actually going to happen. It's not actually going to come true because you're only using, it's only part of the process there. We're not only doing halfway here, okay? So we have to make sure that we're following up our positive affirmations with the actions that we need to be able to get these results. But there's more to it than that. When we're talking about positive affirmations and actions, we could do anything once, right? You could do anything once, maybe even twice. But if you're not consistent, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. We can talk a good game. We can talk about how great some of these different things are and those positive affirmations. But if we don't have consistent action, I'm telling you what you need to hear. Maybe not what you want to hear, but you came here for the honesty, so I'm going to give you the real. If we can't get consistent action towards our goals, it doesn't matter what type of positive affirmations you have because all you're going to get is consistent disappointment. We can't be upset about the results we didn't get by the action we didn't put in. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Are we following me here? Are we talking about this? Tag someone who needs to hear this. Share it with someone because it's the real, right? We have to make sure we're being consistent. We have to make sure we're moving forward in all the different things we want to do. Unless, if we don't do that, we're talking about that consistent disappointment. And another example of another individual who truly takes that consistent action is, before Will Smith became the actor with all the different awards and the famous actor, all the movies, his shows, etc., right? He used to always say to himself and to others that, I'm an A-list actor. Everybody else here doesn't know it yet. But I'm an A-list actor, And so he can say that. And I'm sure there's other people who say different things like that. But are they taking the action required to be able to get where they want to be? So, positive affirmations, should we use them or should we not use them? Well, ultimately, that's up to you. Whatever it is you need to do for yourself to get consistent action, that's what you got to do. If it's just being more organized, if it's those positive affirmations, whatever that looks like, that's what you got to do. Because ultimately, a positive affirmation, let's call it for what it is. It's not a magic wand. I'm sorry, this isn't Harry Potter. A positive affirmation, it is what it is. It's just a tool. It is a tool for your mental to get to wherever it is you need to be successful. So that might work for you, but it might not work for the person sitting next to you, because we know that you're not listening to the podcast alone. All right? So the thing is, we have to have consistent action, and we have to recognize that a positive affirmation is a tool to help you get to where you need to be. But if you don't have consistent action, you're only going to get consistent disappointment. So what it is you got to do with your positive affirmation to get to wherever it is you need to be, go for it, put in the effort, and truly, there's nothing you can't do. The grass is greener where you water it. Put in the work, get after it, and let's do this. Once again, thank you all so much for listening. Let's get empowered. Let's make it happen. Let's take action. Positive affirmation or not, figure out what works for you. Have a good one, everybody.
When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run. I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.